Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you guys how I did my first valve cover. It's my personal advice to you guys and my personal first experience, so you guys might like it, you guys don't, but either way, let's just get right into it. So the first thing you want to do, yeah, I know I dropped that, whoops. So the first thing you want to do is take off the screws, you want to take off the oil cap, the dipstick, etc. You just want to take off everything completely so you can just have everything set and ready to go to take off the paint. And yeah, I'm taking a while on the screws, I don't know why, but that's step one. So as you can see, this valve cover is just completely full of paint inside the places where I don't want it. So what I'm basically going to do is strip everything down as much as I can. So what you're probably going to need is a couple of gloves. You're going to need some aircraft paint remover, paintbrush. You're just going to need like 2 of those. And then also I got some 600 grit sandpaper. So now I'm just going to put on the gloves and start my first set of aircraft remover on the valve cover. Also, you're probably going to need a container to put in the aircraft remover. That's how I like it, just so I can have a good chunk of aircraft remover and then I can just dip the brush in and out without having to put more and more, just to have a good quantity. And for the brushes, like I said, I only used 2 of those. You kind of want to get a brush that's really thin to kind of get into the crevices of the valve cover. It'll just make it 10 times easier on stripping down the valve cover as fast and as efficient as you can. So from my personal experience, I recommend you leave the aircraft remover sit on the valve cover for about 10 to 15, if you have the patience, 20 minutes, just to see better results. I was first doing about 5 to 10 minutes, and it wasn't peeling as fast and I was getting frustrated. So I recommend you guys, the longer the better. So this is the result from my third try doing the aircraft remover. Within 5 to 10 minutes, like I said, I was getting frustrated, but this was the third time, so it was kind of starting to peel. Like I said, you want to wait longer because you'll get better results. So I was kind of being stubborn and starting to scratch, because I wanted to see results faster. But if you have patience for it, I recommend you really taking your time. Now I'm in a different setting. I'm actually at red zone, but this is after multiple tries. I can't even tell you guys how many times. The paint was just really stubborn, and I did multiple coats, but this is the end result. Alright, so I finally finished taking off the stubborn paint. So now I'm going to go ahead and sand it down with 600 grit and make sure that the surface is completely, without bumps, without anything. Make it as smooth as I can and get ready for paint, because I don't want any bumps besides my wrinkle paint. So now that I finished sanding, I went ahead and I covered every hole just to make sure. I didn't want to overpaint in any hole whatsoever. And then now I'm going to get ready to start priming. Okay, so moving on to primer, what I like to do, or what I did, is that I did about 3 pretty good coats. I like to turn the cardboard itself rather than me going around the valve cover or just looking to the side, just to make sure that I get good coats. And then after I was done priming, I let it sit about 30 minutes before I began doing my first coat of paint. Alright, so now that we're ready for our first paint coat, I started spraying horizontally just because a lot of people go by the guidelines of going horizontally, vertically, and then diagonally. So I started horizontally, and what I did is I just sprayed till I knew that my coat was heavy, but not heavy enough to where I have drips. So you don't want to go too much. Keep in mind you're going to do 3 heavy coats, so just try to be careful, because if you ain't careful, then everything's gonna go wrong, and then you're gonna have to start from ground zero, and that's gonna just completely suck. So one thing I forgot to mention is after you finish your first coat, you want to wait between 10 to 15, I wouldn't say past 20, but wait within those lines to start your second coat. And now that you begin your second coat, you want to start doing paint strokes vertically, and also you want to do 1 heavy coat, but remember, not too much to where you're dripping, because once you drip, you basically fucked up. So now for your final coat, you're gonna do diagonal strokes, and before you finish, you want to make sure that you made the paint go through every single place. So within the crevices, within little small fine lines, make sure that the paint went through and it's fully painted. And yeah. So instantly after you're done painting, you can easily see the wrinkles already starting to show instantly after I was done. But basically what you want to do is you want to use a heat gun, and I used circular motions, I did crazy motions, I did all kind of motions. But what you want to do is that you don't want to leave it in one place for too long or too short. You just about right. Give it even strokes all around just to make the wrinkle as even as you can. Some people say that you can put it in the oven for however so many minutes, but I personally used the heat gun. And I know a lot of people told me that in the oven it's always easier and it's always like a perfect finish, but I personally just wanted to test my skills and see how good I was willing to do a valve cover all by myself. So this is the results of about 30 minutes of just using the heat gun and going up and down, left and right, etc. And then I'm just going to leave it overnight and see how good the wrinkles are. And I also left the light on just to make it as wrinkly as I could. So now this is the final result. It's about 9:18 in the morning, and this is how it came out. It looks like it's wrinkled everywhere, and I absolutely love it. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tape off the taping, and then we're gonna go head to Red Zone and put this bad boy on.